Welcome everybody. This is Yoga for Father's Day. You might be doing this on Father's Day, or you're just a father any day of the year. This works for any day that you're a dad, and that's all days. And I also have yoga for moms, a couple of those. I've got a flow and a gentle, so both parents can get exactly what they need. If you'll please hit the subscribe button, I really appreciate it. And let's go ahead and get started. So you can sit up in a comfortable position. You might want to take a blanket underneath you and raise your hips up a little higher than your knees. That tends to feel better for our lumbar spine and open the front of the hips a little bit more. So take just a moment to set up. We won't be here long, but we do want to just slow down for a moment. And close your eyes, settle the shoulder blades, make sure you're not condensed in the jaw or around the eyes or the neck. Take a deep breath in and sigh out. Good. And then just have a moment of peace for yourself. And within that peace, you might set any intention for this practice. If you want to bring your hands together, you can, or just keep them on the legs. You might have a word or a phrase that you would like to focus on as you take your movement. Inhale fully and shake off the clutter. And let's stretch the back and hips a little, shall we? So you can move your blanket to the side if you used it. We'll come into a child's pose, toes together, knees can be together or separated. You can come to your forearms here, especially if you're a little bit tight, or you can walk the arms further forward and take a stretch here. Forehead can hover, or you can put it on the floor. Take a full inhale and exhale. And then from here, rising up to all fours. If you want a blanket under the knees, place it there. And just start to move your spine in these two directions, where you're rounding down, tailbone down, forehead down, opening through the in-between of the shoulder blades, and then reversing that really slowly. So slow is key, and thinking of extension rather than collapse is also going to be critical here. And then from here, come to all fours, tuck your toes under, and we'll transition into our first downward dog. So we're not expecting the heels to touch the floor or the back of the legs to straighten. So you can pedal out here, widen your stance, maybe shoulder distance apart. Same thing with the hands, or a little wider. Drop the weight of the head down. So we want to traction the spine and breathe here. You can keep gentle movement here. You can keep the heels lifted and the knees bent. And then on your next exhale, lower the knees down. And then from here, I am going to add a little bit of padding under my knees. Again, it's an option for you. Even a towel works. We're just going to do some under the body work here, crossing the midline with a little core stability. So from here, right hand to left knee, little balance, and then place that slowly back down. Left hand to right knee, and slowly back down. Now do that again, but we'll add a little bit more core. Round up and in, see if you can lift more of the leg up and in, and then down. And then the second side, left hand to right knee, squeeze in, and down. So this also helps us to stabilize the lumbar. Now keep the toes tucked and press the hips back any amount. That might not feel amazing. Take a deep breath and exhale. Inhale to all fours. Exhale to your second downward dog. Again, pedal it out. So if you are a dad who has to sit a lot for your job, maybe you're driving or maybe your desk, you might have a little bit tighter hamstrings. In fact, you could not sit at all and still have tight hamstrings. Deep breath in, exhale, lower back to the knees. From here, we're going to stretch the underside of the forearm. So if you're carrying anything heavy, maybe it's a child, maybe it's just their belongings. Turn the fingers back towards the knees, the heels of the hands away. This generally doesn't feel good to most people. I don't want you to be in pain, but a little discomfort is okay because we don't do this very often and it's really stretchy for the undersides of the forearms. And then press the hips back only if you feel like you're not getting enough of a stretch. Breathing as slow and steadily as you can. And then back to that all fours position. And if you have a couple of blocks and you want to use them at the top of your mat, you can, like so. If not, skip the blocks. Take your right foot forward. So we're coming to a low lunge. Left knee is down, left toes are either tucked or on the floor. And then rise up to your blocks or fingertips to the floor. So we're finding this lunge opening through the front of that left hip and then not collapsing. So don't just rush the pelvis coming forward. Keep it nice and soft and easily just kind of draw out any amount forward that you feel a good, comfortable stretch. Breathing here. So not a lot of people do this stretch on a regular basis, but it's so good for us. And then shift back. Let's open the hamstrings of the right leg. Spread your right toes. You can move your blocks a little further back here. The right knee might be bent, so you might be higher up. You could even put your blocks higher. Your right knee could be bent. Breathing here. Drag the right hip crease back just a little bit more if you want to make this a little more IT band focus, if for some of you who might be runners or cyclists or, again, anyone. And then very carefully bend that knee and slowly bring it in. And then hug your inner thighs gently towards one another. Just draw back to the midline. And then release that work and let the left foot now come forward. Blocks might draw forward. And you're just finding that easy movement where you're not jamming, you're not rushing, taking the pelvis a little more forward and easing into opening the front of the right side body, front of the right hip. Really take your time to slow your breathing. It will help the stretch become more accessible to you. And then from here, we'll shift back into that half split. Don't worry, we're not doing the splits today. Spread the toes out. And what I mean by getting into the IT band like we did on the other side is to drag the waistline a little back to accentuate the stretch across the left hip and IT band. And rock a little forward, draw the knee in and seal it down. All right, so blocks or no blocks. If you're using the blocks, you'll take them forward, spread your fingers wide, knees go wide if you can to get into the groin. So that's really, we kind of want to do all of the hips today. Draw the heart down and open through the pectoral muscles. If your hands are on the floor, you won't be dropping the heart as much, but just breathe there. Rising up to all fours. You can move your blocks. Actually, you can move all the props out of the way. We don't need that right now. And we're going to move into a little bit of more strengthening here. So we want to take care of the low back quite a lot today, not only by stretching and opening the areas around it, but also strengthening, bringing blood flow. So from here, downward facing dog, get that pedal in. And then from here, we'll transition into plank pose. So what I want to make sure is that you're not sagging your hips here. So really lift it up. And if you ever want to, look in a mirror or video yourself, it can be eye-opening for this. So from here, holding your plank pose, and then just finding your breath active in the legs, giving ourselves just a nice challenge of a hold here. Stabilizing. Hopefully we'll start to feel the arms waking up, legs, core, and then that we can still find our breath even in the midst of challenge. I know as parents we all have to do that sometimes, find our breath in the midst of challenge. 10 more seconds. Three, two, one. Downward facing dog. All right, from here, allow your feet to come forward. You can step, you can take a little walk all the way up. Hands can go back on blocks or stay on the floor or come to the shins. Rise halfway up, maybe bend the knees a lot, especially if you have tighter low back or hamstrings. Exhale, fold. Bend the knees now for a chair pose. Bring your hands to your heart or to your waist, whichever works for you. And then take a moment and establish where the weight is across your feet. Try to evenly root from the big toe ball joint to the pinky toe ball joint and to the heel. Not overreaching the tail, not over tucking the tail, but somewhere in between. And then from here, reach all the way up, straighten, reach through your arms, get really, really long, inhale. And as you exhale, float your arms down to the sides. And let's roll our shoulders out. So again, we might be a little tighter through the pectoral muscles, especially if you round forward at a desk or driving, or again, holding a child. So from here, we're gonna reverse that. We're gonna go to an open chain reach. So widen your stance a little bit here at the front of your mat. Press your arms back. So it's easier for strength to do this, but harder for flexibility. We're just gonna go more so into the strength here and let the lift of the chest bring more flexibility. So root the feet, lift the sternum, reach through your fingertips, active through the triceps. Take a broadening breath in and out. And then shake that on out. Now, if you can interlace your fingers this time because you have enough opening in the shoulders, that's fine, but many of us might want to start holding a strap or a towel or just taking the hands on the waist and drawing the elbows back. So you choose whichever works for you. Same as before, root the feet, lift through the sternum. We're broadening through our breathing here, opening the lungs, opening the chest, strengthening the back. And then let that all go. From here, bring your hands to your waist and step your right leg back. Like you did before, exaggerate the length of your left waistline a little bit. So your right foot's about 3 feet back. You're not on a tightrope. You have enough length from left to right, width, that you feel more balanced. And then from here, bend the knees any amount, and we'll come into a pyramid pose. We're either gonna put our hands on our shin or our ankle or fingertips to the floor or blocks. Again, really want to get into your hamstrings today, IT bands, so we can take care of our lumbar spine. I get from a lot of the male students that I have, I get that lumbar spine and hamstrings and IT band are often tight. And then from here, it's a balanced transition. Bring your hands back to your waist, bend your knees a little bit, and come all the way up. Anytime you have any tightness, you want to bend those knees as you come up. And then step to the front of the mat. Inhale, reach, get long again. Exhale, this time bend the knees any amount and fold. Inhale, rise halfway up. Exhale, fold. Step back into that plank pose from before, and we'll go into that plank hold. If you want to add some movement here, or if you want to play with taking the hands up, maybe an arm to the side or back, maybe a leg up, maybe you're going to do one arm and one leg and alternate that. So working on these challenges in any way that you want. It's Father's Day, so I can't tell you what to do. You tell you what to do. I can never tell you what to do. But on Father's Day, people can't say no to fathers on Father's Day. All right, exhale, downward facing dog. And then from here, we'll take our walk to the front of the mat again. Inhale, rise halfway up. Exhale, fold, bend those knees any amount, and then we'll come into chair pose. This time, if you can take your arms up, since we're a little bit more open in the shoulders, take the arms up if you can. Really energize, find the root of both feet. Inhale, come up, reach. Exhale again, arms down to the sides. Roll that out, shake that out a little bit, and let's widen the stance before we go to the other side. Let's roll the neck all the way around. If you find a place that's a little tender or a little more tight, then please stay there and just breathe. And then from here, hang the head down, and one vertebra at a time, let the head come up. Shake it out, feet underneath you in your mountain pose. Bring your hands to your waist. Actually, you can go a little wider if you want. Bend your knees, step your left foot back. So again, it's over to the left a little bit. Toes are about diagonally out here, whatever feels best for you. You're gonna draw your right hip crease back. Inhale. Exhale, bend the knees any amount. Blocks might be really useful here, or find the ankle or fingertips to the floor. Check in that you're not clenching at the jaw, furrowing at the brow, and breathing here. So we'll come in through that balance transition. Bring the hands to the waist, bend the knees any amount. Inhale, come all the way back to standing, bend the front leg, lean a little forward, and step up to the top of the mat. Inhale, reach. Exhale, hands to the heart. Full vinyasa this time, building on. Inhale, reach. Exhale, knees could be bent as we fold. Inhale, rise halfway up. Exhale, fold. Take it back into your plank pose. Only 5 seconds here, and then we'll move through either going to child's pose or downward dog, or through a vinyasa of your choice. And here we go. If you're taking the vinyasa, heels rock forward, elbows bend. You might come halfway or to the floor. Upward dog or cobra. So very careful here. Let's talk about it. Root the tops of the feet. Lengthen the sternum forward like you did in your standing heart opener. And inhale. Shoulder blades on the back. Exhale. Downward facing dog. Really feel what it feels like to root your hands down to the floor and to find any of the surface area of the feet down. As parents, sometimes finding the floor and grounding our energy is very useful. Inhale, exhale. All right, from here, we're gonna walk the fingertips back to the feet. And then bend the knees and really try to articulate your spine one vertebra at a time. Roll your head down, your tail tucks, and round all the way up through standing. Restacking. Knees stay bent quite a long time until the torso is more upright. Open the shoulders back and shake that out. All right, so it's good to add balance. It's not something that we generally add a lot to our days, so we're gonna go ahead and do that. Shift your weight over into your left foot. Lift your right heel. As you feel ready, bring your right knee up. Arms can be out for balance or wherever you need them. And just hold here without holding your breath. This is also really good for the core. Plug that femur head into the pelvis. And then slowly come down. And as you're ready, we'll switch sides. Just start lifting that left heel. And then as you're ready, the knee comes up. Breathing here. This is really good. If your kid's throwing a tantrum, say, oh my gosh, you have to do this right now. We have to do a balance. They'll be like, what? Yes, we have to do it now. It'll take their mind right off what they were having the tantrum about. And left foot down. And shake it all out. All right, so let's roll the wrists around. We're going to, earlier we stretched the underside of the forearm. Now we're gonna stretch the upper side. So I'm gonna face towards you. And then from here, let your arms just hang. And listen closely, you're gonna make a fist. This is not an angry fist. This is a very soft curling the fingers in. And then take that very soft curling the fingers in, take your knuckles and point them towards the underside of your forearms. You might feel something on the upper side of your forearms. Yes, especially too if you lift weights, which I definitely do, and children are weights. And then we're gonna roll the knuckles out and back to the sides, and then forward and to the sides. Ooh, out and back. Keep rolling the knuckles underneath to create that real elongation of even the top of the hand. Back and forth. And then shake that on out. We're gonna open the shoulder here. So put your, actually I'll mirror you guys. Put your right foot forward And then left arm comes forward, back, and down. So you can rock like I'm doing, opening, external rotation here, or you can just plant the feet and open the shoulders. So we really want to find a really safe but full range of motion in the shoulder. Breathe and open any adhesions there, and then shake that out. All right, other side. Left foot forward and right arm is going to take that journey around. Full rotation. So in our daily movement, we don't just swing our arm around generally. So good to get this in and create healthy shoulders. Let's do 2 more times around. All right, now from here we want to make sure our neck didn't get overly involved. So soften the shoulder blades down and let's just go laterally here with the neck, side to side. Opening that out. If you like to take those circles like we did earlier, you can. All right, so now that we've done that, we're gonna work on coming back down to the floor and some more of those plank challenges with a little more upper body strengthening. So remember what we've been doing, stabilizing at the core, taking care of that low back. Come on down and find yourself in a plank pose. If knees down is best, find knees down. All right, so from here, a little bit like a mountain climber, right knee in, but you're gonna round your forehead to the knee and back. Left knee in, round your forehead to the knee and back. So that's the movement. And you can go back and forth. If that's too much, don't round the head in. Just take the knees alternately in and lift your ankles even high. When you take the knee in, lift the ankles high as well. Breathing here. We really want to work our core to take care of our lumbar, supporting the whole time. And then hold, breathe. You're gonna like it because the next one's a child's pose. And now here we go, knees down, together or separated, child's pose. If you find that this is too much on the knees or the top of the ankles, you can roll a blanket or towel behind the knees, which will prevent you from coming as far back, but you can still put your weight down on that. So you'd be a little more here. And just add a slow inhale, slow exhale. Maybe come back to your intention. And then from here, going into that upper body work. So from here, we're gonna do just a couple of regular push-ups because yes, even though we don't see these in yoga, I find that they have a lot of use and I appreciate a good push-up. So you can do anywhere from 1 to 15, actually from 0 to 15. So if you wanna stay in your child's pose for this, we'll join you in a moment. Here we go. Wherever your hand position feels best to your wrists, elbows, and shoulders, you're gonna take your feet back. The feet can be together or separated. And as you're ready, here we go. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. And here we are in child's pose. For those of you who hung out in child's pose, we're a little jealous. Finding your breath. So taking care of ourselves is not just opening, breathing, and stretching, but also strengthening and finding the balance of the two. So from here, we're gonna go ahead and come down onto our backs. And then you can, let's see how much time, yeah. We can roll down using the core if you want, or just flop on down as you're ready. And then from there, let's get that lumbar spine. So tuck the tailbone under until you feel your lumbar actually root down. And then draw the knees in, hands to the kneecaps. Breathe here. Stay here or lift the head and shoulders. Draw the core musculature back. If you lifted the head and shoulders, come on down. Lower the feet. Okay, so this time you're just bringing your right knee in. This is pressing down on the ascending colon, which is really good for detoxification and elimination. Stay here or extend your left leg. Now, if you're a little tighter, your leg might be almost hanging out here. You might want to put some support under it or try to drop it down if that feels okay. Press through your left heel, hug your right knee in. Active, active. So we're going back into opening the front here and the back of the right leg, like we did in our low lunge earlier. And then we're just gonna slowly switch sides. Both knees draw in, left knee stays, right leg could extend or not. You're actively drawing the left knee in as you're actively pressing the right heel away and breathing here. And know the lumbar won't be perfectly rooted down to the floor on this one, just because of the anatomy of it. So don't worry about that. And from here, both knees in. Extend the legs up. Now you might find when you extend the legs up that they're not straight. They might be here or here. That's okay. Just energize through them. Bring your hands alongside of the body. And then from here, find accentuation of the work of the low belly and maybe lift the pelvis a little bit off the floor. It's like a teeny tiny lift. This is amazing for the very, very deep, low musculature that is harder to get to with core work. And a lot of guys have kind of that, actually all humans have strength higher up and more surface in the core, but not lower down and deep, which is where we need it a lot. And then 2 more, lift. It's almost imperceptible. You're just trying to lift the tail and then lower. And hug it all in and rock a little side to side. Just massage that out in the low back. From here, soles of the feet down. Now listen closely because this might become a little too much depending on your hip tension. You can always put a blanket under the head if you find that the chin is jetting up and the head's dropping way back. But you're gonna engage your right ankle, make an L shape with that, put it to the top of the left thigh here, or excuse me, actually that would be kind of the lower part of the left thigh by the knee. And then maybe if you're feeling enough stretch here, you just hang out. Okay. If you're not feeling enough, you can bring the left knee in any amount. The right arm goes through the triangle that you made in the middle of the right, and then the left hand wraps around. Breathing here of the right. That didn't really make sense. Of the right leg crossing over. You made a little triangle, the arm goes through it. Maybe rock a little side to side. So this one tends to be pretty, there's a lot of sensation with this one for most people. So keep your breathing very, very thorough, full body. And then we'll just put both soles of the feet down. Let's try the other side. Ankle right to the base of the thigh, right in front of the knee. Engage the left ankle, stay here or draw in. Left arm goes through the little triangle space in the middle. And then breathing here. If you want to add movement or circling or drawing in a little closer, that will accentuate the stretch through the glutes. So anytime you have low back stuff, again, I mention this a lot just because so many people have been talking to me about it for 20 years. You want to get into the hips, the back, the hamstrings, the whole core, the whole body. Deep breath in and out. And we'll slowly unwind. Now very carefully bring your legs into extension. You can let the legs come any distance apart that feels good to you. And then take your arms out into a wider shape or bend your elbows. Take a full breath in here and sigh out here. Okay, so if you want to start your relaxation from here, you absolutely can. If you want to add in a twist, I invite you to add in a twist. So from here, we're going to build it the same way we build our other stretching postures. Your right knee is going to come in, left leg is going to extend. And then from here, just roll, and I'll scoot over a little bit, just roll that right knee over towards the floor. It might be on a block or a bolster or a blanket. And then unfurl your right arm, either into a straight line to the right, alongside of the ear, or cactus. Breathing here. If that feels good, you might stay here even longer than I instruct. So this is a good one when you wake up, or when your kids get you up at 4 in the morning. This is a good one to at least pause and do, even in the bed, even before you get up. Some gentle stretching and some twisting like this. And then slowly come back, or don't, or stay there. And then left knee draws in, right leg to the floor, and twisting the other way. That left arm, you want the pectorals to be getting a stretch that's comfortable. And it could be a little uncomfortable, but not painful. And then just finding, where do you need to reach? Where does the left knee need to go? Maybe there's some height underneath. Breathing here. You can look straight up, or you can look away from the bent knee, depending on how the neck feels. Breathing, I think, is the number one thing that when you get enough practice and you can really find it, it changes your yoga practice so much. But if you're not really used to it, you're just taking those moments to go, oh, I forgot about the breath, and then bring it back. It's just coming back to it as many times as you need and finding it's there. And then we'll draw back to the center. Now, if it feels best for you to have your knees bent, you can stay right like this, or you can take a bolster or a rolled up blanket under your knees. You can even put your calf muscles, your calves, onto a chair and rest like that. So taking the legs higher up. But I do recommend taking a Shavasana, that final relaxation pose, that pause before you throw yourself back into the day, before you're answering questions about, why is the sky blue? And all the other questions we don't have answers for. Well, actually, you probably do have answers for that. Bravo, Dad. But I just want to say thank you for coming to practice with me. I really appreciate it. Happy Father's Day every single day. Thank you for the wonderful work you do for the next generation. Namaste.